What is going on, guys? And welcome to the very first episode of my new Red Sox podcast, Into the Triangle. Now, I'm sure not a lot of you guys remember or not remember me, but even know who I am. But I have another Seahawks podcast that is moderately successful at best. And, in this time of year, I am all about baseball, and I don't really have anything to talk about with the Seahawks, which are really my first love. I've gotten to baseball very recently. I mean, relatively recently, in the last few years, but I am a diehard Red Sox fan at this point, and I've been dying for a way to discuss my Red Sox takes and get them out there. So I decided, hey, let's start a Red Sox podcast. And you know, I'm not gonna try to. I'm just, very heavily a fan of Section 10 and those guys and what they do. So, I'm not gonna try to blatantly copy them and say, oh, I'm gonna do a series MVP. Oh, I'm gonna do a look ahead. I'm gonna do all this, all that. I'm just gonna give my thoughts on what happened in the series, just go through it. The Red Sox sweeping the Rockies in a three-game domination to advance to four games over 500 I mean, that's the most games over 500 we've been all year. So obviously, it's been an eventful year. It's been an interesting time for to be a Red Sox fan, and I'm just willing to lay my thoughts on the table. I'm a guy that, I just love talking ball, and I hope you guys will join me for this ride as I talk some Red Sox ball. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with this Red Sox series. My plan is just to go through game by game, say, hey, this is what happened. These are the storylines. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Anyways, we're going to hop right in with game one. This was a 9-3 Red Sox win. Dick Fitz getting his first win as a starting pitcher for the Red Sox. 5.2 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. This early on was a game where the Rockies strike first, and you're like, really? Are we gonna have a tough time with the Rockies? Like, come on. I just want an easy thing. And then the Red Sox really pulled away from there. Abreu with an RBI double, Toro with an RBI double, Roman Anthony with his first Fenway homer, an absolute smash to dead center field. I mean, the kid is absolutely on fire. And honestly, I think that's my first talking point that I really want to stick with here. Let's break down what Roman Anthony has been doing. I mean, this guy has been absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. It really does go back to the Nats series, but you can go even further back to the Reds. I mean, originally, earlier this year, Roman Anthony was kind of seeing the baseball well. He was taking a lot of walks. He was getting on base at a decent clip, but the contact, the power, it wasn't really showing for him. And then as of late, you've really started to see what this bat could be, and not even what it could be, what it already is. And what it already is, I mean, at least at face value, is an impact bat. This is a guy who is seriously finding his swing and hitting pitches harder than he has been all year. I mean, and I'm just so happy to see what he's been able to do. Going back to the Red Series, which was 9 games. Now, this is baseball reference, and baseball reference is always behind, so it doesn't actually include the game from tonight. But going back to that Red Series, 8 games, 38 plate appearances, a 353 batting average, 421 OBP, 500 slug for a 921 OPS. That is filthy. Obviously, as a home run, 7 RBIs, 12 hits, 2 doubles. He's just been seeing the ball really, really well, or he has been seeing the ball really, 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 really well the whole time. And now you're really starting to see that on the field development as far as it goes for hits and smoking the ball consistently. And, this is a guy who, he's 20 years old. You do not want to be pitching to this guy in a big situation because he came through all series. He came through all Nat series, and he started to really come through in that uh Red series. So you're seeing the development of Roman Anthony in real time. And obviously, as a Red Sox fan, that has to be something that just absolutely excites you in every single way. This is obviously a guy who, especially with Rafael Devers gone, this is a guy who the Red Sox probably see as the next likely superstar. And they're hoping for him to take that step. And I think there's a chance where by the end of the year, we're looking back on this and saying, wow, Roman Anthony is here. Like, he's already here. It's not like we had to bring him up and there was some time that it took like a whole year or 2 years for him to really come around. There's a chance where we're at the end of the year and we're looking at this guy and we're saying, oh my goodness, what do we have here? So that Roman Anthony home run in the fifth put the Red Sox up 5-1. Then the Rockies scored three straight in the sixth, or two unanswered in the sixth, makes the game 5-3. In the seventh, Duran RBI single, Narvaez RBI single, puts the Red Sox up 7-3. And then in the eighth, these are two more guys that I really want to touch on here. Ceddanne Rafaela with a homer to left center, 407 feet. I believe that was his third consecutive game with a home run. And then Romy Gonzalez smoked a 454-foot home run over the monster, which was at the time tied for the longest. Jaron Durant would actually break that. It's not really a record, but break that feat later in the series. And we'll obviously touch on that. But as far as why this Red Sox offense is playing so well, since the Rafael Devers trade, and when Rafi was first traded, this offense really looked anemic, and there was serious concerns about what are we going to do? How is this offense going to stay afloat without Alex Bregman, especially, who now looks like he's on the cusp of coming back, but regardless, this was a team that seriously seemed to be floundering. And now you're seeing, 3-game series, the Red Sox score 29 runs in 3 games. That is the type of offense that this team has been able to put together. And obviously it is the Rockies, but hits are never guaranteed, runs are never guaranteed, especially we've known with this Red Sox lineup. You could face any pitcher, no matter how bad they've been, and they can give you a competitive night, especially with how this lineup was playing on paper, less than 2 weeks ago. And now you have Ceddanne Rafaela absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. And, a lot of people were talking about, is there a difference in approach? Is he swinging differently? The swing rate is relatively the same as earlier in the year. He's just swinging at pitches that, like when he is swinging at pitches and making contact with them, it's always solid. He's pulling the ball a lot more in the air, which is a huge key for him, especially at Fenway, a righty hitter. He has a beautiful swing, by the way. I just want to say, when Rafaela gets one and puts it over the monster, his swing is so gorgeous. I love watching it every time. And so, Rafaela being this guy, this young player who you can realistically look at and say, well, we knew the defense was elite. And now this bat is developing so much right in front of our eyes. You just can't help but be really excited about what you're seeing from this player, this very young player who's still very much developing. And now, maybe you're looking at him being a core piece of this Red Sox team as, they try to strive to make a playoff push down the line here. He was obviously a core piece defensively, but now you can really look at him and his bat as hopefully being a bat that can come in clutch for you and, be there in the big moments and consistently have an impact night in and night out. And then Romy Gonzalez, man, holy cow, smoked another home run tonight. I don't know. Did he homer in all 3 games this series? I don't think he did. I think yesterday he just had a lot of hits. Yeah, he did not homer yesterday, but if you're interested in what Romy Gonzalez did, he had 3 hits. I believe he also had a triple deep into the triangle. Hey, into the triangle. Whoa. uh, so this Romy Gonzalez, man, hit a home run tonight in the 3rd game, hit a home run in the 1st game that was absolutely just pasted over the monster, and then had a huge 2nd game, 3 hits, a bunch of RBIs. I mean, let's just be real. Romy Gonzalez right now, when they come up to the plate, is there any hitter that you trust more than Romy Gonzalez on this team? A guy who has absolutely been on fire. I believe he has the highest batting average in the entire league against lefties. Think about how crazy that is. Aaron Judge, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, all these greats he has the highest batting average against lefties. Romy Gonzalez, oh my goodness. I mean, and it really makes you feel so much better when, especially, you're working with this first base platoon that you've been able to roll out every night, where it is Toro and Romy. Toro really being better as a lefty. He's a switch hitter, but I find that when he's a righty, he doesn't oftentimes have that big of an impact. When he's in that lefty batter's box, I find that he's a much better hitter. Toro and Gonzalez, now you have these two guys that can really replace the impact of a Rafi Devers missing in this lineup. And I'm not saying obviously that either of those guys are better or as good as Rafi, but together, I mean, you have Toro who's been hitting righties very well, and Romy who hits lefties possibly better than anyone in the sport at the moment. I can't see how you don't say that that is a legitimate potent player if you can just take that lineup spot every night. And if you were to remove the word platoon and say, hey, this is a hitter that's coming in every night for you, you'd probably say, hell yeah, let's go, let's roll. This Red Sox lineup right now is pasting things together as we go, and we're seeing guys get hot right in front of our eyes and just having an absolutely tremendous impact down the road. Going to game two, the big thing I want to talk about. Brian Bayo with a complete game, man. I was watching this. I was really hoping that he would be able to pull off that Maddox, a sub 100 pitch complete game shutout. 83 pitches going into the ninth. He had shut out the Rockies, absolutely dominant throughout the whole thing. This is really what you want to see out of Brian Bayo. Unfortunately, hangs a cutter, I believe, and Hunter Goodman smokes it over the monster. But regardless, a two-run complete game from Brian Bayo is so big for like early in the year. I was seriously getting close to being like, I'm running out of time for Brian Bayo. He was so poor. My thing with him was, hey, every time he gives up a hit, like he's supposed to be a contact pitcher, but every time a bat is on the ball, it's hard hit. So why is he why are we giving this guy any more chances? All of a sudden, man, like he's starting to phase out that changeup, even though it did look good in the start, starting to phase out that changeup, going towards a sweeper, a cutter, and it is totally revolutionized the contact that he's getting. He's leaning more into a sinker, which I think is really nasty. He's totally kind of neutralizing the hard hits that he's been giving up, striking out way more, 10 strikeouts in the start. Brian Bayo, I'm just so pleased with what has come of him, like in like the last month. Him and Giolito, who we'll touch on tonight, the development from them has really been a catalyst, I think, in kind of reviving this Red Sox team when now you have, rather than it just being Garrett Crochet, who you can trust on a night in, night out basis to perform, now all of a sudden you have three guys that you are confident in can make quality starts. And then you have Hunter Dobbins, who, hey, Hunter Dobbins can give you five shut. He can give you six one-run innings. Like that is like Hunter Dobbins has that upside. So, four guys who every night you're at least three guys at this point, I'm very confident in. And then one guy who I'm like, hey, this guy can give us quality stuff. Now, Walker Buehler, that's kind of why you have to imagine the Red Sox are talking about adding a starting pitcher at the deadline. But regardless, I mean, this rotation has developed so much, and you're seeing it with Bayo in real time as I think really the biggest storyline for this Red Sox rotation. This is a guy that you needed to be good, and you're starting to see what the potential is for a guy like Brian Bayo and what, he can be and what he's already becoming right now. We already talked about Romy Gonzalez. Jaron Duran smoked a 456-foot home run, smoked another home run in game three. I think it's important to talk about the Duran rumors, at least at this point, because, I mean, here's my thing. Everybody after Duran performed really well this series says, well, maybe we can make it work. Don't trade Jaron Duran. Who would want to trade this guy? This guy's playing really well. There's still a jam in that outfield, and you have to fix it. And you're going to have to make an uncomfortable move to make it work because Cedar Rafael is hitting way too well to take him out of the lineup. I think that Wilyer Abreu, who originally I would have said is the odd man out, now like with Rafi Devers gone, who else in this lineup is going to give you consistent power every night? I think Wilyer is the only guy that I can really trust to do that. A guy that can really swing the bat and drive the baseball consistently. And you're not Roman Anthony. I mean, it's not like you could send him back down to AAA. This fucking kid is playing ball. I mean, there's just nothing you can say else about Roman Anthony. So, where does Jaron Duran fit into this with, it being a down year for him? You have a surplus of lefty outfielders, and he could probably fetch you the best return. So we will see what happens there. And it seems like he's getting hot either at the best time or the worst time, because if he was really cold right now, you could easily justify moving Duran for a win now piece, which was the implication in an article today, I believe from The Athletic, that the Red Sox would only move either Wilyer Abreu or Jarren Duran if it was for a impact now piece that could really come around at the big league level. So it's tricky. It is tricky, and you are there. There's going to have to be an uncomfortable decision made because, frankly, this outfield is just too cramped. And even if all the guys are playing really well, you just can't. Like, hey, some of these guys have to play every night. Like, Wilyer Abreu is good enough, especially defensively, and he's smoking the ball offensively to play every night. So is Roman Anthony. I think he's earned those everyday at bats. So is Cedar Rafaela, who is the best defensive center fielder in the entire sport and is smoking the cover off the base, tearing the cover off the baseball. Like, and Jared Duran is now tearing the cover off the baseball. So, what is that decision that you're going to make? Because I think that there is one that needs to be made. You can't keep saying that this is just how it's going to be and have this full outfield lineup that, is really awkward and crammed and just does not make sense at the moment at the big league level. Now, for Duran, I'm happy that he's getting hot because the lineup is just that much better when he really is hitting. And you've seen it the last couple nights, a 2-for-4 game in game two, and then multiple hits tonight as well with a home run, 3-run home run. There's gonna have to be something done about this, and we're gonna see how it's gonna play out. And who knows, it could actually play into another thing that I'm gonna talk about after this. Some more rumors going on. But yeah, Red Sox win game two, 10-2. So they won the series that night. They close it out tonight with another 10-2 win, another offensive explosion kind of coming on late. Lucas Giolito's 6 shutout innings. The guy at this point is a machine. Like, he is just it every single start at this point now. It looks like he's on cruise control, which is once again just so colossal for this Red Sox lineup and everything that they need. This Red Sox rotation and everything that they need. You need a guy that you can trust consistently to go out. And now he's going out. He's striking out guys consistently. He's not giving up hard contact. He's finally finding it with that fastball. And this is a guy that you can bring back next year for very cheap control if he throws under 140 innings, which is at this point looking likely just because he started off the year hurt. So, hey, like, what's going on? I mean, Lucas Giolito is absolutely cooking. And, every night now when Lucas Giolito, kind of like Brian Bayo the last month or two, when Brian Bayo and Lucas Giolito go out there, I'm like, all right, Lucas Giolito's on the mound. We're gonna get 5 or 6 solid innings from him, which is just a feeling that I did not have earlier this year. The big storyline for me for game three was Masataka Yoshida's return. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. A guy that the Red Sox wanted to act like did not exist is finally back in this lineup. And boy, oh boy, did he contribute. 3 hits, smoked a couple singles, a double, RBI single early on in the game. Um, this is what Masataka Yoshida is. And I really think Lou Merloni put it perfectly on the broadcast when he said, hey, this is what this lineup needs. They need a guy that's going to give you a tough at bat, not going to strike out, going to be able to hit righties because this team could smoke lefties. But where are the righty hitters? Are they more consistent? Like, who's going to be able to hit those righty pitchers better? Now you're seeing it with Yoshida, a guy who is going to consistently put up tough at bats. He's going to draw walks. He's going to force a pitcher to make a mistake because he gets in that count 3-0 or he gets in that count 3-1. That is what this lineup needs, especially such a strikeout heavy lineup, especially when it's at its lowest. People really forgot how steady Masataka Yoshida can be in this lineup. And it's so important to see him come in here, contribute. Once again, you're talking about a DH platoon here of probably Ref Snyder versus lefties and Yoshida versus righties. And that is another kind of, if you combine them into one player, I feel confident in that lineup coming together and those two guys being able to handle the DH platoon. And that's kind of what Craig Breslow has always wanted. Now, as far as will they be better than a Rafi Devers? That is probably unlikely, but it's left to be seen. And I'm just honestly excited to have Masataka Yoshida back because people frankly forgot how good he was and forgot to give him the credit for how steady of a player he can be when he's really on and able to work. And he's rehabbing that shoulder injury last year, made him kind of look worse and struggle. And now maybe he's a little healthier. Maybe we'll see a 280 or a 290 type of guy out of Masaki Yoshida, which is frankly what he should be. He's not going to give you a ton of power, but he's going to get on base. He's not going to strike out. That's what this team needs right now. And I'm really happy to have him back at the major league level. And, just quick shout outs. Wilyer Abreu hit a home run. Carlos Narvaez had a pretty good series, sneaky good series, but just because there were so many good hitting performances. And Carlos Narvaez had a really good night as well. Hit a home run, 2 for 4 on the night, an RBI. Marcelo with a multi-hit game. Just guys playing well. Also, I really liked what I saw out of Jorge Alcala tonight. 7 pitches, 6 strikes, 1K. Always had filthy stuff since he's been with the Red Sox. I believe he has a low 1 ERA, like a 1.08 or something. I looked at it earlier tonight, like a 1.08 ERA, and I think his FIP is like 150. So, he's been playing really well. I like what the Red Sox are doing with him, just telling him, hey, lean into the curveball and the fastball. That's your elite stuff. It's going to play. Be a two-pitch pitcher. Don't overcomplicate things for yourself. And now it looks like the Red Sox have essentially acquired a steady middle innings reliever who I am confident, at least semi-confident, every night, every time he comes out for very cheap from the Twins. So shout out Jorge Alcala as well. And as far as it goes from this series, that's kind of it for me. I don't, this shout out Trevor Story. I don't know if I shout out Trevor Story. Shout out Trevor Story got a home run against his former team. Big time stuff from Trev. Um, On to interesting rumors. It's the time of rumors, kind of early to mid July, the trade deadline coming up sooner and sooner every day. And now all of a sudden we're going to get all this talk of, hey, this guy's getting shopped around. This guy could get moved. We'll see what's going on with this guy. Hey, who knows? This guy is heading over there and they're inquiring about this dude. Interesting today that we get a report from John Morosi that Joe Ryan is a team that multiple teams are looking at. The pitcher from the Minnesota Twins, and he specifically cited and only cited the Red Sox as a guy who, uh, they are targeting. Joe Ryan this year has been absolutely filthy dominant. 3.9 WAR, 2.76 ERA. Sub one whip, 104 innings pitched, 29 years old. This is a Twins team that is disappointing this year, looking at a pretty steady sell of a lot of players, and teams should rightfully be calling on Joe Ryan, and I'm happy that the Red Sox are calling on Joe Ryan. It poses an interesting possibility where the Red Sox do a Duran for Joe Ryan swap, because it does seem that the Twins are at least somewhat involved on Jarren Duran. There's been a lot of rumors swirling about that. You do wonder if that's a scenario that could come into place. It would be an absolutely massive trade, a big time blockbuster at the deadline. But the simple fact of Joe Ryan is that he is going to be so unbelievably difficult to acquire. This guy's 29 years old. He doesn't hit free agency until 2027. This is a legitimate, like, elite A tier quality pitcher. Maybe not like that ace caliber. Like, it's not like you're going out and acquiring a Tarek Skubal or Yoshinobu Yamamoto or someone like that, where it's like this guy's gonna go out and he's gonna throw like just gonna be absolutely dominant for you. But this is a guy that's, if you get him, he might be the best number two in baseball. I mean, that's not crazy to say, I don't think. And I mean, it's going to cost a lot. Like, I think people are overstating it when they say, oh, a Duran and Joe Ryan swap. It would just be Duran for Joe Ryan straight up, right? It would probably be Duran plus, 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 like Duran plus this guy, this guy, this guy. And that might get you Joe Ryan. I don't know if the Twins would be willing to trade him. It would probably take an offer so flooring that it would like absolutely knock their socks off, that they would need to do the deal. I like that the Red Sox are being ambitious. I like that Craig Breslow is taking a swing, especially after doing such a gutsy move with Rafi Devers. You were hoping that there would be a big move coming. I like that the Red Sox are specifically targeting like big fish, being risky, calling on the big names that maybe might not be available, but if they are available and you're willing to meet the price, could be an absolute game changer if you add them. Now, Jared Carabas, a guy with has proven that he has sources, kind of hinted that he was hearing things on Monday. And then in the recent days, he's kind of said that the Joe Ryan talks have slowed down a little bit. So maybe it was the Red Sox very quickly calling, and maybe they were very aggressive initially, and then things seemed like maybe something could progress, something was fluid, and now it looks like it might be dialing down a little bit. I'm sure that the Red Sox will keep that phone line warm though, and I'm sure that you know, that will be a conversation that we hear. And if they can't get Joe Ryan, I'm sure they'll keep calling on the other top names at this deadline that are available. So we're gonna see how that all works out for Joe Ryan. It's interesting. I think that the at the top of the Red Sox priority has to be a fifth reliever or a fifth starter. Not necessarily even a number five. It just has to be someone that, can replace Walker Buehler because like I said, I think at this point, Walker Buehler probably is the only guy that you don't trust every night, which is scary. Like, hey, I want to know that if I'm in a 5 game playoff series, that I trust all five of the pitchers that are going out there to varying degrees. Obviously, I'm not like I need an ace on the mound every night, but hey, when Hunter Dobbins goes out, I'm like, hey man, give me 5 1-run innings. I'll take that. Like, I'll take that. Give me 5 innings, 1 earned, 5 strikeouts. That's all I need from you. And then you can go sit in the dugout and we can let the bullpen do the work. Joe Ryan, a name to keep tabs on. As far as other pitchers, there haven't been too many rumors about the Red Sox. Another rumor that's been swirling around, this kind of the last rumor I guess I'll talk about before I wrap this thing up, the first episode of Into the Triangle. Um, the Red Sox are a source told Sean McAdam that they are not trading Alex Bregman, and they actually hope that, hey, maybe they can get an extension done. Now, they have said that the talks have been more casual. The team is kind of focusing on the deadline, the draft, obviously two things that are fair to prioritize, but they both sides at least seem to have varying degrees of interest on a deal. If I had to guess, I would say Alex Bregman wants to be extended. The Red Sox want to extend him, and Scott Boras is probably saying, yeah. We'll talk about it. Sure. Um, that's just my gut. I don't really have any sources. I'm just saying, hey, I think that Scott Boras probably would want Alex Bregman to hit the open market, but with the injury, who knows? That might change things. This is a guy who obviously, like with Rafi gone, he is the face. It's him and Roman Anthony and Garrett Crochet, in my opinion. If you're putting like a billboard up on the Mass Pike when people are driving by Fenway and you want to get people into the ball games, you're going to put Alex Bregman, Garrett Crochet, and Roman Anthony on a poster and say, "Everybody come and buy your tickets." You need to extend Alex Bregman under any circumstances. Now, as far as that goes, like before the deadline, I don't think that they'll get something done before the deadline. If they do, obviously, hey, great for both sides, great for fans. Let's go. Um, but Bregman, I think, will, if anything, will probably be extended like September, maybe early mid-September. Feels realistic for Bregman. But either way, it's not like I don't think Bregman's going to get traded. The exact quote to Sean McAdam was, "Hey, this team's we're trying to win. We're trying to win games." And I like that mindset because the Red Sox, hey, 6 straight wins. You guys are 4 games over 500. That's the most you've been all season. Like, it's go time. Buy in on this team. Let's go. Either buy in or sell what you got. And I'd rather buy in because this team is winning. And I believe the Mariners lost tonight, which means that they are tied for that third wild. Yep, they are tied for that third wild card spot. So hey, buckle up. It's go time. Keep Alex Bregman here, extend him, go after some pitcher, maybe add one lineup piece, and let's get going. I'm excited to see what this deadline holds because it feels like the Red Sox, for the first time in a while, could actually be a team that does something and tries to push this team forward. And it seems like Craig Breslow is at least somewhat aggressive in that, which makes me happy, gives me hope. I hope that this team can pull something off. And hey, we got momentum, lineups cooking, a lot of pieces in this rotation are cooking. Let's get to work. Let's see what happens. I want to thank you guys for watching/listening the first episode of Into the Triangle. Once again, I just love talking ball. I'm not claiming necessarily to be an expert in any way, but if you guys decided to listen, I thank you guys for, hearing my thoughts and hearing me blabber. Please comment. I will always respond to comments. If you guys have a thought, a take, disagree with me, agree with me on something, hey, I'll take anything. Just be respectful, please. I'll take anything. Throw it in the comments. I'll always respond. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a like, and hey, maybe if you got a few other Red Sox fans, show them this as well. It would mean a lot to me. I want to thank you guys for watching the first episode of Into the Triangle, and I will see you after the 4-game series with the Tampa Bay Rays. Hope you guys have a good night. I'll see you later.